Hello, friends, and welcome to Strangers in the Night, your source for late night VR gaming talk. I, of course, am your host, Wes. With me, as always, is my good friend Ruuts. Ruuts, long time no see, brother.
Yeah, it feels like forever, man. So much so that I misclicked twice and then just skipped right into the intro there. I think we might have missed a second or two, but I think everybody knows the countdown of what 5 to 0.
yeah,
So
yeah, getting a little rusty, right? Take a week off and forget everything.
yeah, it was crazy last time we were here on a Friday night. Everything was it was all wonky. Everything's all even now and good to go. And yeah,
Yeah, and we're not going to play any games tonight live, so we should be able to make it through a whole episode without technical difficulties. Fingers crossed. No
yeah,
guarantees.
yeah. If we can't, then there's a problem, I think.
So how you been, man? You been gaming, been having fun?
Yeah, I've been really having I'm getting Diablo 4, man. It's just I wish it was in VR because it's such an amazing game. The depth of it. Actually, one of the games that we are going to talk about, like the depth of it kind of reminds me of Diablo 4 on a small scale, but yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I played a little Grimlord last night, just in case it comes up. Talk about a skill tree, man. That thing is insanity. It takes up like your whole field of view. Like, who's going to play a game that much?
Well, I tell you what, man. You get the right gameplay and it'll definitely get addicted, right?
Yeah, and we will cover Grimlord at some point. A lot of people are interested in it. For those of you who are wondering, I did get my G2 up and running on it. Um, there still isn't a community binding for it, but I went in myself and just did the binding custom, and all I had to bind was like the face buttons, A, B, X, Y, and then everything worked fine for me after that. I didn't have any trouble. So I put I don't know, about 90 minutes into it last night. It's pretty good.
Yeah. Cool. That's crazy that the GT's not. Hey, that there's not like just a general thing for it. That so many games
Yeah.
don't have it for it set up.
It's
So
weird, man, because they sell the G2 like as this Steam VR hybrid headset, but most of these games still read it like it's WMR. So instead of having like a regular controller scheme, the thing thinks I have like those old shitty WMR controllers. And so you have to go in and bind it. And most of the time there's bindings available, but for whatever reason, this one doesn't have it. But thankfully, like the triggers and grips already work, the thumbsticks already work. All you have to bind is just those four buttons, and then everything works well.
yeah, it's worth it though, huh?
Yeah,
Hour
it's
and a
pretty
half, you
good,
said.
man. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's a melee game. It's got really good, sharp graphics, good looking character models, lots of weapons, and again, a gigantic, um, like skill tree. And I kind of see where people, they call it like a Souls like. I kind of see it, although it's not. It's not that like I didn't die, but maybe one time. I think I died one time in the whole time that I played it. If this was a Souls game, I mean, what I would have died 5 times at least.
Yeah, I mean, Dark Souls definitely you end up dying a lot, especially when you get to bosses, um, just because of the mechanics, right? So
Yeah. Tatum says it has a good crafting system. That's true. There's a pretty cool system of resource gathering and going to the shop to have things crafted for you. Um, when I got in it, it was I don't know. I wasn't feeling it so much at first because it seemed like it was just going to be a pretty standard melee game. But that was just like the tutorial. After you get into it, you get to choose your class, and you can be like a warrior. Um, there's a wizard class, and then there's another class that's kind of in between.
hmm.
So I switched to the wizard, and now I don't have to like swing swords and stuff anymore. I've got a staff. I've got fire magic. I've got electric magic. I've got ice magic, and it's all like gesture based, which is pretty cool. So that made it a lot easier to play seated, and I started having a lot more fun after I was able to use my magics.
Yeah, that's what I want to do. I'm not a big melee person. I think I'll when I play Grimlord, it'll be magic for sure. I don't like melee. Um, I guess the exception would I was gonna say flat. I don't even like melee, but the exception was Elden Ring. I actually played 200 hours as a melee. So instead of magic, it was crazy. So
It was pretty good. It's just kind of difficult to do seated sometimes, and it is physics-based melee, so you're not just. It's not like Undead Citadel where you're just hacking through stuff. Like things have a lot of weight, and you really have to work to kill the enemies. But it's pretty good. I can see why people like it, and it's definitely something I'm gonna go back into, and we'll give it some proper coverage when we have a little more time in there.
yeah, absolutely.
We were moving so quick to get started here. I forgot to ask you when we're going to talk about our gifts.
Oh, I don't know. I guess you said either intro. I guess we could. I don't know. We could do one now. We could. Um, yeah.
So we got some stuff, ladies and gents, and you've probably seen some of this stuff. We've been sitting on these boxes for a few days waiting to go on the air to kind of share them with you. But if you guys want to see what's in the box, one of them I know exactly what's in the box. The other one I have no idea what's in the box because I wasn't expecting it. So what are you going to do first, Ruuts? I'll let you make the call.
I guess let's do the one that I already had before that I didn't even know I had today.
Okay. So and just so you can see, like, I haven't opened this yet. It's still got bubble wrap.
Yeah.
Oh, crap.
Same package.
Here we go. I got to back up a little bit. Get that sweet spot. Put it in front of my face.
Hey, watch your address.
Oh, this might not work. There we go. So I've got a package here from Quantaar, and again, both of these packages came from Impact clients, so I knew about these boxes. The other one I had a little bit of hand in kind of designing, so I kind of have an idea what's in that one. This one, I had no idea that this was even coming to me. I didn't really even work on this box. This came from the developers. So I wasn't expecting it at all. People were asking me, did you and your Ruuts get your Quantaar boxes? I'm like, I didn't know I was getting one. So it's going to be interesting to open this up and see what's actually in here. I can say that I did play a little Quantaar yesterday. Played it for about 2 hours. It was way better than I expected. Everyone knows that casual multiplayer typically isn't my thing.
Mm.
But this was a lot more well done than I was even expecting it to be. It's like a Smash Bros type battle arena, and you can tell it's been in development for a while because it's actually pretty polished and
It's free.
plays like exactly, and it's also free. There's that. It's absolutely free. But you get on Steam VR, you can get it on Quest, and the coolest thing about it, with it being a multiplayer game. I went into it last night. It was like 1 a.m. or something like that. I didn't have to wait on a match. Like I went right in. Every time
Really?
that I started up a match, it went right in. And yeah, it plays really good. I do recommend it. And again, I wasn't expecting that I would really like it because it's not my style of game. But I did like it. I thought I'd play it for like 30 minutes. I ended up playing it for like 2 hours. So yeah, I enjoyed myself. It was pretty good. Anyway, shout out to the developers for sending me one of these. You
Yeah,
can see
for real.
the artwork on the box is pretty. If I can get it in here without it vanishing, like the enchantment under the sea dance. There we go. The artwork's pretty awesome here
Yeah.
on the box. So there's that. Okay, so I recognize this is one of the characters from the game on the cover, and then a lot of the other ones. That's another thing about the game. A wide variety of characters. And they all have their special move sets. And people say, why do I need to play a game like this in VR? Because it is third person, although you have like your own avatar in there as well, and you can see all the other people kind of hovering around the table that the characters are battling on. People say, why do I need to play this in VR? The special moves, Ruuts. Each character has its own set of special moves, and those things are epic in VR to check out. You've got
I
crap
just
falling from the sky and crazy lasers. It's pretty cool.
I just don't understand that mindset. Why would you need to play it in VR? Why play Demio in VR then? You know, you're looking at
Right,
characters
right.
on a board. Like it makes no sense. Just the fact that you're in a headset and you're isolated from the fucking world, and you can, you know what I mean? Like that alone is a reason to play it in VR, and I guarantee it's way better. That it just that third person bullshit. I'm just so over it. But yeah, check this out, Wes. Mister, oh god, it's green. Doesn't want to show up. Mister Furry. Oh my god, Mister.
Here's what it looks like.
Yeah, you. There you go. Yeah, maybe if I do that too. Can I
No,
hide
you're
behind?
using a green. You're using a green screen. I'm not.
I know,
So
but
this
can
is
I?
what he looks like.
This is my head missing part.
Yeah, yeah. It's just a floating beard.
Dude, I want to do a show with just a floating beard one time. That would be cool.
This one and it has a cool little picture on the back here too. So this is like
Oh,
a little plush pillow thing, with some characters on it and the Quantaar logo. Super nice, super well made. Looks like it's even got
it
a
does.
zipper on the
It
bottom.
does feel very soft and well made. I'm taking it to bed with me. D says, you know who else has special, epic, special moves? My mom. Yeah, she
That's
does.
true. So I want to shout out Mr. Tasselhoff in the chat. Did you know, Roots, that Mr. Tasselhoff is a professional boxer?
I did not. He's also a barbershop quartet singer. You do everything, Tass.
So Tass is a professional boxer, and I say that because, when I say I have a hand in designing some of this stuff that goes in these boxes, that's true. But Tass is the guy that makes it happen. He's the guy that sources out all of the stuff, orders it up, gets it all sent to his house, puts it together, boxes it up, and ships it out. And he's doing an awesome job at that. So I just wanted to shout Mr. Tasselhoff out for being such a great boxer.
Yeah, I got you. Boxer. Yeah. Check out this t-shirt, man. Quantar. Now I got another t-shirt to wear on the
Now,
show.
this is something that I figured there would be a T-shirt in there,
Hmm?
but I thought that it would be like, this is a very super colorful game,
Yeah.
right? Like when you go in it, like the menu and the lobby area and stuff, um, it's a lot like the lobby area of like a dash dash. Everything's super crisp, super colorful. So I
Like
thought when I
this?
got a shirt, yeah, like that. So I thought when I got a shirt, it would be like that, super colorful. But as you can see here, just the way I like it. Roots, you know me. This is the type of stuff I like. Black shirt, white logo, super basic and not too flashy. I will wear this shirt.
Yeah, me
So
too. I'm wearing the
this is,
Reality Bite shirt tonight. So
oh yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
Yeah. One of a kind.
Well, so we're off to a good start, man, with the plushie, with the awesome t-shirt. That's pretty good, but there's more stuff in here. You little knickknacks. You just showed the stickers off,
Yeah.
so I'll try to get a shot of that in there real quick. Some still you can see my ring light on it. Big budget here, ladies and gentlemen, using ring lights.
Look, you can see me through the kind of.
It's pretty cool. So
Yeah.
yeah, some awesome stickers. My kids are gonna love those if I let them have them and don't keep them, which I'll probably keep them and add to my collection. Now, this is one of the cooler things. Oh,
Are
the case is coming open on me here.
you talking about these? Oh.
Yeah, these trading cards. Remember, I told the Light Brigade they should make some of these because they have those cards in the game, right?
Yeah.
But you can see how well this stuff turned out. Like they're, I don't know if you can really make it out through the camera, but they have like a foil refraction into them. They're not just regular trading cards, and they look super cool. And they look like they look like collectible trading cards,
Yeah.
right?
Well, they are. They are to me. I know I'm not going to be using them, so I'm going to be collecting them. They're really cool.
Hope you can catch how the light reflects off that. They look really nice. Again, shout out to Mr. Tass for getting it done the right way. Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And then I think there was one more thing in here. Yep, there is a keychain, and this is like a cloth embroidered keychain.
Captain Fury.
Yeah, this is the character I used actually. I think Captain Fury. It's like
Was
a
he cool?
superhero
Was he
robot looking.
badass?
He was badass because he had this. He does like all these kung fu moves and kicks, but like they're super powered.
But
So like
is it first person though, where you're using your feet?
no,
Oh well,
no,
never
no,
mind.
no.
I'm just kidding.
No, you're so the way this works is it's not only like a third person Smash Bros type game, but it's also like a first person social experience. So you're basically coming into the arena, you have your own avatar, and you see all the other players. They have their own avatars, and you're kind of all sitting around a table, kind of like Demio,
Mm.
but on the table is a battle arena where you have the characters kind of fighting it out, and they're probably I mean, they're a lot bigger in scale than like the Demio characters are. Like these are probably 3 or 4 times the size of the Demio
Mm.
characters, and they're fully animated. And I mean, it really does play like a legit
Smash Brothers.
Smash Brothers type game.
How
And
cool.
the combinations are super easy to pull off, and you know the button combinations are they're the same for all the characters, but the moves themselves are very different. So you can, if you learn how to use one character, you can pick another one up pretty easy. Although the special moves and stuff are going to be different. So it's pretty good, man. It was better than I expected. Again, shout out to Pumpkin VR for sending us this stuff. It's really cool,
Yeah.
and I'm wearing this shirt. So
Super cool.
thank you. All right, so that's that. Um, Cool. I always like getting this stuff. You know, we don't do paid content here, or at least we don't do paid reviews and that sort of thing. Um, but we'll take merch and swag all day long, right?
Absolutely. It's not gonna sway me.
All
Toss your
right.
chicken in the ring and battle to the death, Mr. Tass says.
You know who loves it when you toss your chicken in the ring? Ruuts?
My mom!
Oh, yeah, she does. You know who else likes different moves?
My mom!
And when I mean different, I mean different.
Ah, so yeah, that was cool. We do have another box over here that we'll get around to maybe later in the show, or I mean, if we run long, maybe we'll do it on Sunday. But again, shout out to Pumpkin VR for sending me that. I was not expecting it. I didn't know what was in there, and yeah, it's really cool stuff.
Yeah, I didn't know it was in there either. And I don't know what's in the other box. And it's exciting.
Yeah, I do know what's in the other. This is pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. If the games want to start, or developers want to start sending us swag box, we can start opening them on stream, right? Show off the stuff.
I'd like to know if people like this sort of thing. Like we haven't done like I've thought about doing this stuff before because we do, or I do get some stuff from time to time here, but I don't know if people like this stuff. You know, do you like watching unboxings? Do you not? Do you like to see this merchandise? Do you not? I'd like to show it. You know, I'm doing this right now as a token of appreciation to the devs for sending it to us. So, but if people like this sort of thing, I can kind of put some content together. Some of the other things I've got here.
This is my thought on it, personal, on unboxing. Like, if it's like a headset or like it's something that everybody's got, I don't give a shit. Like, okay, you want to show me you're going to open it? Oh, you opened the box and you took it out. That to me is kind of ridiculous. Something that's like unique, that's special, that not many people have, that's worth showing off. You know, like it's like Facebook. People take a picture of bacon and eggs. I could have bacon and eggs and I could take pictures of them. Doesn't make it special, Wes.
I'm at Denny's at 3 a.m. I'm drunk. Check out my plate.
Yeah, check it out, dude. And I got some garnish on the side. Super cool.
ET2K9 now says, I live vicariously through you and Ruuts. Okay. Fair enough. All right. So we'll show off more merch here as we get it in. And hopefully we'll have time to show this other box off because I did have a hand in kind of designing this stuff. So.
Oh, super cool. Bryce says
anyways,
he had bacon and eggs yesterday.
Did you take a picture?
Show it. Let's see it. I want to. I don't. It's not. Doesn't. If I don't see it, Spry, it never happened.
You always have bacon and eggs on your birthday, Spry?
Oh yeah, every day.
Anyway, let's say hello to the chat. Let's get this show underway because we do have some cool games to talk about today. Of course, Spry Guy is here. He didn't take pics of his bacon and eggs, unfortunately. So you guys can't live vicariously through his breakfast. Tasselhoff's here. Again, shout out to Tasselhoff. He says, who doesn't love to see some free stuff? Loot boxes are always interesting because you never know what's in them. That's right. Almost never know what's in them.
Yeah.
Awesome Tatum is here. What's up, Tatum? Mepper is in the house. What's up, Mepper? Philozix is here. How's it going? Ryan B here as well. Space Dennison says, you know who else likes different moves?
My mom.
Yes.
Geison's here. What's up, Geison? Shout out Geison, by the way, the newest member of the Virtual Strangers Patreon. Although I didn't have time to add him in. It was just right before the show that I saw the email from it. But shout out Geison for joining the ranks.
He gets a special verbal shout out right now.
Chinatown D, what up, D? Not sure, Brondo. What's up, Brondo? Chatty's here. What's up, Chatty? Who else? Scrolling. James is here. Delgato is here. Q Creator is here. Did we say hi to Ryan Brandon? What's up, Ryan Brandon? Mr. Lord Beavis is here. Echo Into the Future is here. Scott, the PSVR Game Cat for Life, is here. And that's as far as I can scroll. So thanks for staying up late and hanging out with us on this Friday night. We appreciate it. What's up, Assassin32 VR? What's up, Ray Pope? Good to see you, friends.
What are your thoughts, Wes? Should somebody buy 30% off Mepper, 30% off Hogwarts Legacy on sale right now, or waiting for the Universal mod? I say pick it up now. Like, I don't think it's going to get any cheaper. And say it drops a month from now, you'll be kicking yourself because you don't have it. And it's an amazing game. Definitely worth playing, especially in VR.
Yeah, definitely get it. Again, the Unreal Engine, the Unreal 3D injector is coming. I have it on good authority now that it is real. Get a little insight into it. It is a real thing that is coming. So you're not going to want to miss out. You're going to want to get your Returnal, which is also on sale right now, by the way. Returnal on sale. Probably the first game I'm going to play when I get my 3D injector.
It's going to be so much better. It's going to be so much better in real VR versus the 3D screen. Even though the 3D screen was cool, it's going to be night and day difference.
Yeah, I can't wait. Maybe. Why don't we just play it now, Ruuts? Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, screw it. You know what? What are your thoughts about playing that game with your wife, like multiplayer in VR? I think that'd be cool, right?
That sounds like a reason to build another PC, Ruuts.
Yeah, that's true.
Absolutely sounds like a good excuse.
Yep.
To build another PC. Anyways, let's talk some VR. Let's talk a little bit about Dead Hook. Dead Hook dropped yesterday from JoyWay VR. This game is an Meta Quest 2 exclusive, I think. Well, maybe it's coming to Pico as well. I'm not sure about that. The version that we played was on Meta Quest 2. This is a game that rose from the ashes of what previously was my favorite JoyWay game, Outlier, which was live on Steam in early access for about 2 months. They pulled the plug on it. I thought it was a damn shame, but alas, from its ashes rises Dead Hook, and a lot of question marks about this one, Ruuts. I mean, we've been fairly optimistic about it because they put a good trailer out, but as you know, a good trailer does not always equal a good game. I was worried there might be overwhelming jank with this, But I'm happy to say, Roots, this thing actually plays pretty smooth, doesn't it?
Yeah, it plays pretty smooth. The only, and I don't want to start well with the negative, and it's not even really that big of a negative, but I think it's user error. I just the guns, man, like reloading. I just wish I had a consistent way to reload. Every gun's different, and I feel like I'm like shaking one and turning one and having trouble reloading. And so I need
That is weird. Because my experience is that they all reload exactly the same. There's a lever on top of the gun. You grab it, you can even smack it with your hand, and it just pops.
isn't like yeah, but isn't it like it says the one you need to turn and turn it, kind of shake it, and then one you turn.
No, no, that's not been my experience at all. Maybe you had some guns that I didn't have, but I had the
Hmm.
pistol, I had the plasma gun, I had the submachine gun, the full machine gun, grenade launcher, rocket launcher. They all reload exactly the same. There's a little thing on top. You can uh, you can grab it with your hand, kind of smack it. If you're dual wielding, you can smack the guns together and they'll automatically reload.
Yeah, I did definitely saw the ones like the handguns. They've got you turn them and it kind of when you just turn them towards each other, right, and it automatically reloads.
Right.
That was
Hmm.
pretty cool.
Yeah. Now I didn't get so there's two classes of weapons in this game. There are earthly weapons and then there's another class. I don't remember exactly what the terminology is for it, but it's like alien weapons
Hmm.
or from another realm. And I didn't get any of those. Everything I used was earthly weapons and they all reload exactly the same. Now it is a bit hard to remember to reload sometimes because this game is so fast paced and you're flying around everywhere. You don't remember a lot of times that you need to reload until you've got an enemy in front of you and nothing's coming out of your gun. Um, so it helps to develop good reload habits every time that you can to kind of pull that thing. Um, but no, I didn't really have any difficulty with reloading it at all.
So there was the shotgun that I had, that the two shot or the shotgun thing. I don't know. Like when I looked at them, literally one of them said they're like the machine type of gun says to shake it, and then the other one said to turn it back and forth. And maybe I should have just been easily banging them together. Aside from the ones that they just showed, that one right there, um, and it says
Okay.
to turn them towards each other. So.
So a couple of things here. First of all, I think I only really used the shotgun one time. Um, I just used it to see how it was. I didn't really stick with it. I like the other guns better. Second of all, I did not dual wield very much at all. I
Mm.
basically had a gun in one hand and nothing in my left hand. So the only thing I really used my left hand for was reloading. So maybe that's why you're having difficulties because you're dual wielding and it's different if you dual wield.
Mm.
Um, but
I
like to
think
reload with your hand is simple.
I think that is the problem, Wes. And it's the other problem is I never had the same gun in both hands. And so like each one had a different reload thing. And so like I'm trying to shake one and I think next time I go in, I'm gonna go in and just do single gun because I think that'd be a lot easier to reload.
Yeah, man, the way I played this game literally, I did all my shooting and grappling with my right hand. Literally, the only thing I did left-handed was reload. Like I'm swinging around, and by the way, the grappling. Just to kind of cut to the chase a little bit here with this game, the grappling is what makes this game. Um, I was kind of upset because I liked the double and triple jumps from Outlier, and I knew that was going away. But the grappling in this game is so well done. You can literally grapple anything, any wall, any floor, any enemy, the ceiling, and it's super precise. And it doesn't take long, Roots. I mean, what, 20, 30 minutes in there getting used to it. And after that, like you're doing these like aerial acrobatic stunts where I'm flying through the air, I'm shooting guys on the ground, and the way it works is like Doom VFR, where when the enemy's almost dead, they start flashing white, and then you can use your grappling hook to grapple into them and just kind of split them apart. And I don't know about you, Roots, but it didn't take long before I was literally shooting guys on the floor, grappling that down between my legs and cutting through them. And then like it'll put you in this like bullet time mode sometimes for a few seconds, and you can start stringing these together where you're like shoot, grapple, shoot, grapple, shoot, grapple, and it makes you feel kind of like a superhero, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I like to fling myself up in the air, and then, like you said, as you're coming down, John Wick style, you're shooting stuff between your legs and just getting crazy. It's funny because, like, you say that the movement makes the game. It's exactly what I felt. I was even when I was playing it, I was like, even with Synapse, as much as I loved it, I was like, man, can you imagine if they had a movement style like in a game like that? Like, I think the movement in this is phenomenal, and it was my favorite part. Absolutely.
How about how the game looked, Roots? I mean, this is a Quest game, and I feel like we're saying it almost every week now. These Quest games are starting to look better. Now, it isn't. I mean, it's not Hubris or Red Matter or anything, but I don't feel like during the early part of the Quest 2 life, the kind of dumbed down graphics would pull you out of the game a little bit. I feel like we're getting out of that stage now. We're even like this is like starting to become a normal thing where the games look good enough now, right? This game definitely looks good enough.
Yeah, the problem with the original Quest graphics, or back in the day, is it looked like wallpaper a lot of times, right? And that really did pull you out. Now the graphics look really good, and this is so fast paced. It doesn't need to be phenomenal graphics, but they look really good. The character models look amazing. That face sucker can kiss my ass. That son of a bitch. I can't.
It's annoying, right?
It's very annoying. It's like all of a sudden you got this thing on your face. You have to get it off, right? And I started throwing it off, and then it would just get back on. So now I just grab that fucker and shoot it in its face and blow it up, and then keep moving. But
yeah, as annoying as they are, later in, like if you get into a longer run, those things are kind of handy because, we talked about being able to grapple into the enemies. What we didn't mention is when you do that, it regenerates a little bit of health. So every time that you're doing those kills, you're building your health bar back up. And when you get later on in the game, sometimes it's a blessing to be able to have one of these enemies in your hand so you can shoot them a couple of times and then grapple through them real quick and get that little health shot.
That's a good idea, actually. And yeah, because when you go into the next room, you have your life is the same. It's like, man, why am I still sounding like I'm almost dead? And then I looked at my life thing on my hand, and I was like, fuck, I've only got 6 health. How far am I going to get in this thing, right? Because like you said, it starts to get chaotic. There's just so much going on, and you're flinging yourself around. It's just, and one of the things I thought was cool is how not only does it give you, you go into the next room, right? Which is different. It gives you options. I'll say, okay, you have different options of which room you want to move into. So
it'll give you typically 2 options. It's kind of like Mother Gunship in this way that you kind of get to pick what happens in the next room. And sometimes it'll be just a normal kill all the enemies. Sometimes it'll be that you have to kill them in a certain time frame. And then there'll be like special modifiers like one enemy is invincible until you kill all the other ones, or all the enemies are invincible until you find and kill the one. There's one where you can actually gamble going into it. So you're collecting gold as you go through your run. And it's pretty basic roguelike progression where after each room you get to add a buff on or get a better weapon or whatever. And then every like 4 or 5 rooms, they let you buy stuff with the gold you collect. And there's a room where at the front of it, you get to gamble basically and bet that you're able to clear the room. What I didn't like about that room, Roots, is that they don't tell you that it's a timed thing. Like that, they don't show you a timer or tell you got to do it in 2 minutes. But most of the time, I failed in those rooms, and it doesn't end your run when you fail. You lose the coins that you bet. I didn't fail because I died. I failed because I didn't do it quick enough, and it just told me I failed. And what really, really sucks about it isn't even losing the coins. It's that when you fail, instead of getting a positive buff at the end of the room, you get one that's negative.
You get a
And you get to
debuff?
choose.
Are you kidding me? Really? That's
Yeah,
crazy. I never. That's crazy, man.
yeah. The thing that normally the glowing green podium is it glows red,
Oh
so
god.
you didn't do it, and then you'll have to pick from like lose 20 points off of your maximum HP, or lose 15% armor, or 20% movement speed. Like it'll make you choose how you want to damage yourself, and then you got to go on to the next room.
Oh wow, that's cool. There's penalties, man. You better make sure you do it. I guess. Does that make you not want to bet? Or I guess you can bet low, right?
I just avoid those rooms most of the time when I have a choice, because again, it's typically a time thing, and the norm for me is I've got one guy left, and then the time runs out. It's pretty BS, but it is what it is. There's no clock. You don't get to see how much time's left. It's just over, and you lost. So it kind of sucks. I avoid those rooms when I can, but with that said, after you get halfway through and you beat the first boss, you go on to like the second half of the run. They don't tell you what, you still get to choose your room, but they don't tell you what's in the room until you choose.
Oh.
So you don't always have that choice.
Yeah, that's crazy.
After you get deep in.
Ryan B says, curious how the grappling compares to Windlands or Resist. Well, for one, it's you hit the button and you just yank yourself up, right? Like it's completely different.
Yeah, it's kind of in between that and like an Everslot type of grapple. It's I mean, you can swing if you want, but that's not what you're doing here. You're basically just throwing yourself through the air. You're grabbing something and then slinging yourself in a direction. Now, if you don't sling yourself, you will swing, but it's kind of too slow if you do that. So I very rarely did I just swing around. I was basically just throwing myself all over the arena.
Yeah, you're just constantly flinging yourself. Or I just think the movement is amazing. It was fun, and it made the game. Definitely, from what Mash was saying, how the state of the game was months ago when he played it, I can't believe that this is a completely different game.
Yeah, it still is a little bit rough around the edges, but that stuff's all or mostly stuff in the lobby. Like they have a pretty cool system of permanent upgrades in between runs, where you take supplies that you gather through your runs, and they give you recipes, and you can go like kind of build buffs for yourself. You basically you have a machine that has everything you collected. You have a recipe that tells you how much of each thing you need. You put it all into a machine and compress it, and then you run it through a centrifuge. And at the end of the whole process, it gives you a syringe that you shoot into yourself, and you get the buff. I found the interactions with that thing to be a little bit clunky. Like sometimes you spill stuff, and sometimes it'll go back into the machine when you spill it, and other times you just lose it. And after a while, it seems kind of unnecessary, right? It seems like a lot of trouble to go through just to get your upgrade.
After a while, you describing it sounded like too much. I'm thinking, why can't you just give me a fucking flask? Like, why do I have to craft it and make it and do? Like, if you want to give people options, I guess this is the thing. This is the problem with, I don't know, the developers sometimes, I guess, in VR, but like they really feel like everything's got to be made into a VR action and unique and different. And not everything does. And some things need to be like hassle free, like giving me a flask on if I've earned it or whatever. This is the thing. Maybe let me craft it one time, and then after that, I never have to craft it again. That I think would make sense. And then once I've crafted it, it's in my inventory. I can pull it up whenever I want. It just definitely seems very like a lot. It sounds like I'll never use a flask, Wes, because I don't want to do that.
It sounds like what they should do is there should be a button press option. So when you're looking at the menu, if you want to, like the first few times it was pretty cool, even though again it is a little clunky and it's frustrating when you drop things. But after doing it a couple of times, there should be a button right on the recipe thing, and you have all this like super futuristic machinery. There's no reason why it couldn't auto craft this stuff for you.
Right.
So that would be cool. Some other things I noticed. There's a screen with like special challenges on it, and when you complete those challenges, you get rewards. It's hard to kind of navigate that screen because you're using a pointer and pulling the trigger to pick things, but you can't really tell what the pointer's pointing at. So you just kind of have to click around, or at least that's how it was for me, to figure it out. And then, like when you click on the button to see what the rewards are, it's like it was just giving me story copy. It wasn't talking about rewards. It was like giving me bits of the story and lore instead of telling me what the rewards are. So I think maybe that was a bug or something. I like the concept of getting special rewards, but I couldn't tell you what one of them are.
Well, yeah, that's kind of a problem. Yeah, so that's definitely something to fix, I guess.
But again, let's not get lost in all that kind of stuff because all that stuff's kind of secondary. The bottom line is after you go through the portal and you start playing, it works well and it is fun to play. It's super fast paced. If you like Doom style games, if you like grappling, this game is definitely for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, kind of interesting that they're not bringing this one to PC. I feel like they would definitely find some fans no matter what platform that they bring this out on. It's good, man. It's better than most JoyWay games are at launch.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's fun, and that's what matters, right? And I definitely recommend doing what Wes said with the weapons, or get the same weapon. Don't try to use a shotgun and a pistol in one hand, in each hand, because it's a little weird.
Use the grenade launcher. Cool. That's what I use most of the time, is the grenade launcher, because it's so damaging. You just have to hit them like twice and they're done. Now I did like the earlier grenade launchers versus like the super advanced ones, because after you get it so every weapon has different tiers. So you have like a basic weapon, you have an advanced weapon, you have legendary weapons, you have rare weapons, and you can upgrade them. You can use your gold to upgrade them. So like the original ones are white, then they go green, and then blue. So for the rocket launcher, the green one I like better than the blue one. Even though the blue one was more powerful, the green one, the rockets shoot straight out of it. And then when it turns blue, it's more like a grenade launcher. It has an arc to it. So I like to level up the green one as far as I can without getting it blue. And that way I can kind of shoot accurately while I'm flying through the air.
What's the blue one shoot like?
It's like a grenade launcher. It just kind of has an arc.
General? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you like it without the arc. I gotcha.
Right. I like it to shoot straight what I'm aiming at instead of having to kind of aim high and compensate for the drop.
What if you got used to that compensation?
Oh, you do.
The damage would be.
You do. Yeah. Yeah. My best run was when I had like the super powerful grenade launcher.
But you see, you're trying to shoot that thing off, man. You just grab it. I just grab that shit and shoot it right in the face.
You know who else I hate is the web guys. The guys that shoot the webs at you and you can't grapple for a few seconds.
Yeah.
So annoying.
Yeah, I was wondering what the hell was happening. Like, I was like, I just thought maybe there was a timer or a cooldown or something. Because you get used to moving everywhere, right?
It's an asshole throwing webs at you. I target these guys early whenever they're in the room. I got to get them out of there quick. Good variety of enemies, right? I mean, there's not a super ton of enemies, but I mean, there's a good dozen or so, or maybe even more in different varieties of them. It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's real good, and they're very aggressive a lot of times. At least once you get further on, right? So.
Yeah, they're constantly. I mean, like, I've made it probably 75% through the run, and they're still introducing new enemies, like, still. So, every few rooms, you'll get a new enemy that's even more powerful than the ones you've seen before, and kind of has a different ability and a different rhythm to the attack. It's pretty cool.
What'd you think of the ultimate, the swords?
I only used it once. Um, First time I fought the boss, I wasn't doing damage and I couldn't figure out why. So I just ran up to the guy and started slashing him with the swords and got half of his health bar down just in those few seconds that I was slashing.
Yeah, the swords are powerful.
Anyway, it's good. It's good. Game of the month, maybe. Game of the year, probably not. But better than I expected, and I was hopeful that it would be good, and I'm very happy with it. I think it's only like $20 or something, which I feel like is a good price. They probably could have got away with 25 with it. So I think 20 is a good deal. I'm going to just verify that really quick.
Yeah, for 20, if that's what it
fun.
is, that's actually really good. Gameplay is definitely really fun. And the only thing that would make it even more fun would be multiplayer. We say that all the time, right?
Yep.
But super cool.
Yep, $20, $19.99, and of course, anybody that needs a referral, just tag me or Ruuts or anybody in the Discord. We can make it so that it's actually 15 for you and not 20.
Yeah, absolutely. Radio Runt says he will not be buying this. It's still too hot for VR. Oh, in your room, I gotcha. I thought you were saying the game was too hot for VR. I don't know, man. It's nice, ice cold in my room. After I should have got that portable AC years ago, Wes.
Yeah, it helps, right? It helps a lot.
It helps a lot in every way because I don't even have memory of a hot time in this summer so far. It's just in this room, which is not the case before. So
Yeah, I've got one that's running right now, and it's nice. Even when you do get a little hot in VR, just go lay down in front of it, and you're good in about 30 seconds.
yeah. Yep.
Anyway, Ruuts, what do we want to do? Do we want to open another box? Do we want to talk about another game? What do we want to do right now?
Let's put it out to the chat. What do you guys want us to do? Do you want us to open another box?
All right, let's do a poll, just because we like doing polls.
Yeah, you know who else loves to do polls?
My mom!
Yeah, she does in a lot of ways. She dances on them and everything.
That's how she started, was dancing on them, and then she graduated.
Yeah.
All right, super simple poll. Do you want to see the box, or do you want us to just go into the game and then we'll get to the box later?
There's the king.
Yeah.
The Lord of the Dead. Oh, you can't shoot it. You got to kill everybody else first, Wes.
Yeah. You know what's cool too? Another cool thing about the rocket launcher is even when the enemies are invulnerable, you can still knock them down with the rocket launcher. It won't hurt them. But these enemies, when they're invulnerable, they're more powerful too, so they can attack you and it really hurts. But if you see them, you can just shoot them with the rocket launcher, knock them down, and you don't have to worry about them for a few seconds. All right, so it seems like most people want to just get to the game talk, man. People want to know if Synapse is good, Ruuts.
Yeah, they're like,
oh, wait a minute. Late vote on the box. We're going to give it 30 more seconds and see if Box can come back and make a race out of it. As if people don't know. Well, I guess people don't know what we think about Synapse. Like, there's a lot of reviews out there.
That's true.
And yeah, it's going to be an interesting talk. We have a lot to unpack with Synapse, I feel like. All right, game is in the lead by 1 vote right now. 10 seconds. Well, I guess by the time they hear me say 10 seconds, I'll probably already have hit stop on the thing.
Ah, you got to give 20 then. You say 10, give him 10. Give him 20.
Our guy says save the box for the next show.
Yeah, he's
We
like,
could.
screw. Yeah, it's true. It's like a teaser.
It's only 2 days, and we will have more eyeballs on us. Most likely, more people typically tune into the Sunday show. So
Sure, let's do it then.
maybe we'll just do it on then. Yeah, and it looks
How
like
can
games
we
running
deny
away with
Spry
that.
on his birthday?
That's true.
You know.
All right, game wins 58 to 41%. Where'd the other percent go, Ruuts?
So it's just floating around.
Set that 2023 math for you.
That is fuzzy math.
Anyway, so let's get into Synapse here. Again, this is a highly anticipated latest release from In Dreams. This is a PSVR2 exclusive. Of course, we want to thank our friends at In Dreams for being so awesome to us, as they always are, giving us super early access to this. This game's not even out yet, Ruuts. This game comes out next Tuesday.
I know. It's crazy, right? Special.
Yeah. Special. So, again, a lot to unpack here. And I just want to go ahead and start with what makes this game. And it is 100% the gameplay. This game, it's so intuitive, it's so seamless, it's so fast. And the way that it integrates the eye tracking like no other game ever has before. When you get going at this, when you get good at it, it's almost like it's like everything's happening super fast, but it's almost like it slows down. You kind of get into a zone with it, and it's like a symphony of destruction, kind of making your way through these levels. Like I said, there's a lot to talk about with this game, and some reviews have been more kind to it than others have, but it's pretty unanimous. Everyone agrees that the gameplay in this game is on another level, and I haven't talked to you about the game. I don't know what you think about it, but I got to imagine that you agree.
My thing is I would have to agree 100%. What got me was, the eye tracking is intricate. It's a big part of it with everything, but like, I would imagine not everybody's going to play this game the same way. Once I could start throwing people, Wes, I was picking them up. Dude, as soon as I saw that somebody, I'd just grab them and throw them off the edge or whatever, right? And I started thinking at first, I'm like, well, this is a little almost overpowered being able to do this. But the game doesn't just let you do that. Like, things just start happening, and you're not able to just throw everybody. And then I just started throwing the guys that are trying to run at me, and blow up on my. There's so much going on, so much fast paced, and one of my favorite things is grabbing those explosives and just like flinging it. And there's so much control. It's just super cool.
So you're absolutely right. Different people are going to play this game different ways because there's a variety of different abilities and tools at your disposal here. Of course, you have your standard weapons. You've got a pistol. You've got a submachine gun. You've got a shotgun. You've got a grenade launcher. And you can level all those weapons up 5 levels by repeating your runs. Basic roguelike progression here, and we'll talk more about that in a minute. But you also have this telekinesis. And what Ruuts is saying is correct. You can't throw enemies to start out, but you do unlock this ability fairly quickly, and it seems like that's going to be your easy way forward at first, but as you progress, the game adapts to that, and it gets to the point where there's so many enemies coming at you at the same time that you just can't throw all of them. Like you can sit and sling them left and right, but as soon as you start thinking about that, one of those other guys is going to run up beside you and blow up. You know what I mean? One of the kamikaze guys. So that only works for a little while. And then, the further you progress, the less and less, the less and less you're able to kind of use telekinesis in that way. But you can absolutely center your gameplay around that. Like you can make the gun a secondary thing, and for a while, that just seems like the thing to do because, again, it isn't something that you think about. Like it's so intuitive with the eye tracking and the adaptive triggers, the way they integrate it. You're just looking at something and just halfway pulling the trigger a little bit, and you all of a sudden you've got it now floating in midair, and you can bring these enemies to you. You can throw them off the wall. You can toss them hundreds of feet into the air, and at least for me, I didn't even give it any thought. Like I just did what felt natural to me at the time.
What's funny is at first I thought, this is like kind of pretty much how it's all you do it in every game, except you're toggling with your joystick right between different things, and you don't think about it. Here, it's the opposite. You're not toggling, and you don't think about it, and it seems so seamless. And then when you do think about it, you're like, well, damn, I wasn't even. It just happens. And I think it's the beauty of the eye tracking, right? One of the coolest things I thought, because I'm running around on these platforms and you fall off, and I thought, oh shit, I'm dead. No, there is no dying from falling. You're literally, once you figure that out, you're jumping off or running off platforms, killing stuff. I play differently, I guarantee, than Wes does. I'm running around kamikaze style. I'm fast paced, and I know Wes is probably using cover a lot, just because, well, I can see it in your video here. I do use cover, but I'm a lot more fast paced. But that's just another different type of play style, right? And but anyway, I was gonna say, so I fell off to a thing, and I needed to get up quick, and I noticed what looked like stairs, and I'm like, oh, these, but you can't climb them, and I'm like, well, that's kind of weird. And then I thought, oh shit, I bet I can grab those. And so you can just fling yourself up, kind of like Stormland style, right? And so I started flinging myself up levels, and that was super cool as well. So the movement in this is fun. I wish you could jump, but at the same time, it would change everything, and I don't think it would work. Like I think it needs to be the way it is. So
a lot of running around, like constant motion, almost like a Doom style game where you just don't stop. And yeah, I do. What you're looking at here is footage from when I first played the demo. By the time I got to, running through the game, like my final runs, I'm just running straight at everything. I'm kamikaze style too, because there's so many enemies that you can't really just sit back and pick them off. Now there are exceptions to that. When I'm extremely low on health, I try to take a bit more of a tactical approach to it. But the game rewards you for clearing the levels quickly, so I tried to do that as much as I possibly could. You do take a bit more damage, but the gameplay is even more fun when you're kind of not worried about that and just kind of going through trying to kill everything as quickly as you can.
Plus, you can always go buy some health, right? They've got the place where you can buy health or ammo or whatever, and you also can unlock the healing fountain. And so you just keep an eye, figure out where that is, and when you get low, you just go heal yourself up. You're good to go.
So that's somewhere I probably did play a little bit differently than you. Like, so every level has these different buff stations, whether it be a weapon upgrade or a mind hack. So mind hacks are abilities. The whole premise of the game is that you're in someone's mind. That's the reason why all of this crazy, seemingly supernatural stuff and telekinesis is happening, is because you're actually in someone's mind. It's a dreamscape. So you can get buffs that give you abilities at these little stands. You can get health, you can get guns, or you can get in-game currency, which they call defiance. And whenever you encounter one of these stations during the game, whenever you walk up to it, time stops. So you don't have to worry about enemies coming at you. But I never collected that stuff until after I cleared the level. So I clear the level as quickly as I can, and then I'll go back over the level just to pick up all the buffs. And this, because you get choices, right? Like they don't make you take one thing. You can choose this gun or this telekinesis upgrade, or you can choose this mind hack or that mind hack. I like to be able to kind of think about it, and when I'm in kill mode, I want to stay in kill mode, and then when I'm in uh, strategic mode, I want to be able to take a moment and think about it. So um, I would always clear the level first, and then go back and get that stuff again, unless I'm about to die, and then at that point, I'll take the health if I run across it.
Oh, yeah, I just keep an eye. If I'm low on health, I just go buy it. I'm collecting all that stuff as I go, especially the upgrades. But because I like the fact that it's chaotic, and then I can tell the enemies, bitch, take a breather. You can't touch me. I'm just chilling. I'm gonna take as much time as I want. Because other games have it's quick, right? Like you have like 5 seconds to choose. It's like some games give you, they kind of penalize you. That you got to make a quick choice. I like this one. It kind of lets you really think out your choice, right? So
yeah, absolutely.
How cool does it look?
Perona,
Sorry, I was just gonna say, how cool does it look when you hit that last enemy in the that headset, especially just the colors and super cool.
Yeah, no, it's a cool effect, and it's the overall kind of vibe of the art style is really, really cool and really unique and well done. A lot of people with concerns about the black and white, absolutely stunning in the headset, and I don't think the gameplay would be as good in this game if it weren't for the fact that you're in a black and white world and things that you're looking at are highlighted with color.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jim Perona in the chat with the $4.99 donation says, "Great stuff as always. Thank you, strangers." Thank you, Jim, for the support.
Yeah,
We
appreciate
you very much.
Look at Wes. You think you're better than me? You think you're better than me? I didn't get above a C ever, dude. Like,
really?
Yeah, man. I feel really dirty right now, Wes. Seeing that B, like I thought maybe it was like always a C. And sometimes that C was like in my face, and I'm like, please, like I'm just get out of my face. But yeah, I never got above a C. I feel like an average.
Yeah, that's pretty average. So you're the one all kamikaze, but I'm moving faster than you, bro.
You're moving faster and more accurate. Well, I mean, crack shot West. It doesn't surprise me that you got to be. Actually, never mind.
So really, what the case is here, with regard to how adept you are at making your way through these levels, for me, it was all about choosing the right mind hacks, building the right loadout, because you do have a basic roguelike style of progression here. So, you get to build up a loadout through each run that you lose when you die, but then you earn currency that you spend in between runs to give yourself permanent buffs as well. But the temporary ones were the coolest ones. Like there's such a wide variety of special abilities and things that you can unlock as you make your way through the run. You can really tailor your the game to your play style. It's like some of them you can use enemies as shields, or you can have them fight for you. Other types of buffs will make explosions more more explosive and more damaging. You can make it so that things explode that typically wouldn't explode, or more explosives get entered into the level when you kill guys. You can there are defensive buffs like that, you don't take damage from certain types of attacks so much, or my favorite buff in the whole game is whenever your health is lower than 50, collecting Defiance gives you HP.
Help. Yeah, I got that one. Yep, that one's smart, right?
Yeah. I don't think I would have ever finished the game as quickly as I did if it weren't for that, because that was my lifeline in those late levels.
Yeah,
was being able to use that. So anyway, I mean, there are dozens of these, and you can kind of stack them and use them to however you like to play. You can kind of focus on your guns. You can focus on telekinesis. You can focus on the enemies, on defense, on offense. They're very creative buffs, and I like the ones that were in run even more so than the kind of the permanent ones you get in between.
So so you level though, right? By completing certain tasks or I guess it's not like a lot of other games where you play and you're killing stuff and you're leveling just by playing. You know, you've got to, I mean, I guess you are in a sense, but you got to do them certain ways. Like I guess one of the first ones I did was killing 10 people using cover, right? So you kind of look at the tree and you see, okay, this is what I need to do. And you start doing those things. And actually you start unlocking those things pretty quick, right? All of a sudden you have like 7 or 10 and get some pretty cool moves. So
Yeah, almost too quickly, I feel like. Like I felt like the first run was almost the hardest one. Because even though the difficulty and the intensity definitely, okay, so I guess I should say this: the way to complete the story campaign in this game, you have to beat the run 3 times. So you have to actually run through this game 3 times, and you start out on easy difficulty, then you go to normal, then you go to hard. But it's like the easy one was like probably the most difficult, and or maybe that's not true. Maybe the second run was the most difficult, but the last run definitely was not as difficult as the second run because you unlock this stuff so quickly if you're trying to unlock it. I guess that's another point. Like you're completing tasks so that you can upgrade. I guess you could just not pay attention to that stuff and you would upgrade a little bit more slowly, but this is typical stuff that you would normally get a trophy for, killing so many of a certain type of enemies, killing enemies in certain ways, um, finishing runs in certain amount of time, this sorts of thing. But yeah, I mean, by the time I've run my third run, I'm unlocking multiple things in between runs.
yeah.
And you upgrade pretty quickly. So even though the game is getting more intense, run to run, your abilities are becoming more powerful run to run, and you're pretty powerful to start with. So yeah, I feel like they could have probably put the brakes on a little bit with that stuff and made it a little bit more difficult to progress. But at the same time, well, I don't want to get into that. We'll talk more about the kind of structure of the game in a few minutes, and we'll get back to that. But I don't know. But before we get to the structure of the game, let's touch a little bit more about on the production values of the game. We already said that it's a beautiful game with regards to art style, but it's not just art style. It's super sharp, super crisp resolution. A lot of people had their doubts, or at least some people had their doubts, because this game does use the reprojection. But I'm telling you, man, it's barely noticeable, isn't it?
Yeah, I didn't notice it at all. So I mean, and it's so fast paced. You think you would, right? If it was something that was a thing.
Yeah, it's interesting, man, because we had Ubers reviews last week, right? And I feel like a lot of the things that people criticize Ubers about are present in this game, but for some reason that game got criticism for it and this one didn't. I thought that Ubers was overly criticized, for the record. But things people were saying, like there being a little bit of reprojection. I found this game to have about the same level of reprojection as Hubris, and neither of them were particularly game breaking for me. People also criticize Hubris for being too OP from the start. This game's too OP from the start, but it's still super fun, right? Like, it's not something I'm going to mark the game down for because I would have liked a little bit more challenge from it. It's fun to play, and you kind of feel like a superhero from the very first run. And while that is a weakness in a way, it's also the strength of the game. Being able to kind of run through here like a god and throw these guys around with your mind is kind of what makes it so fun.
It's part of the story. Like, you know what I mean? Like you're in this dream state world or somebody's mind, and you're kind of like in it's kind of like the Matrix, right? You're Neo, and you're just, except for you've got I mean, you're just going crazy. I just think it's super cool, and I think those criticisms to me are just it's a little weird to me. But
Seems like people trying to be difficult. That was my point. It seems like there's a double standard with regard to some of this stuff. Geisen says reprojection will be fixed reportedly for the PSVR2. That's true, but my point here is that it's fine if it doesn't. With regards to this game, it's fine. You don't notice it unless you really look for it, and you have to really try to make it create these artifacts. You don't notice it when you're playing at all. At all. It's super crisp and clear, basically the whole time that you're playing.
yeah, super fast paced. One of the coolest skill trees I've seen in a game, and actually has depth. I
Very
think
tactile, right?
yeah, absolutely. I like the way
Like
it's all
like
laid out. So
even like the skill trees, you're grabbing this stuff and crushing it with your hand, and you feel that because of the resistance in the trigger, because of the haptics in the controller. You feel that, and it's kind of like that with everything. Everything has a very unique tactile feel, which is one of the things I was alluding to at the top. People talk about games being VRAF. This is probably the most VRAF game of all time. Like, this game would not work on a flat screen. This is as VR as a VR game can get.
yeah, absolutely. And like you said, you can feel everything when you're grabbing that stuff, crushing stuff or picking up stuff. Even when you're picking up things in the tree that you're not able to crush yet, has a different feel to it, right? So
Yeah.
And how cool is it to the adaptive triggers for the explosives? You know, you halfway pull it to pick it up, and then a couple times I've forgotten and squeezed it all the way when it's like right next to me and blown myself up. But it's just
and
really
it's
cool.
different for the barrels. It's different for the barrels and the grenades. Like, you can do the same thing with grenades that you do with the barrels, but the grenades are super easy to crush. In the barrels, you have to put a little force behind it. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen a better use of the PSVR2's specific features. Most of them, anyway. We haven't seen a better use in any other game. Like, this game takes nearly full advantage of everything that the headset has to offer.
Yeah, and it takes everything that we loved about Fract and puts it on crack, right? Like I loved Fract, but it's not as cool as this game is. I mean, I guess it shouldn't be, right? Because it was the first, and this is built on top of that, kind of, right?
Yeah, it's another generation, a whole new hardware and a whole new headset. I agree. It kind of, from time to time, you get the same feeling, or same type of feeling that you get from playing through some of the sections in Fract. But this is on a whole other level than Fract. I feel like a lot of the same things we're saying about this game we were saying about Fract. But again, this is kind of a graduation from that. And part of it's the hardware, and part of it is just the overall skill level of the developers and kind of learning from their mistakes with Fract.
Part of it's the enemies and the way that they move around. Like in Fract, just like most games, your enemy comes out and it runs around and does its thing, but it's where it's at. These enemies don't stick around, man. They teleport. They're all over the fucking place.
Yeah.
You know, like it gets crazy. So
yeah. And as you go on, it gets even more crazy because the enemies level up too. Like, you're not the only one leveling up. The enemies also have multiple levels. You can see their level next to their health bar, and as they level up, they move around more. They get more tactical with how they kind of approach you. And and they're everywhere. They're just everywhere. What do you think about the sound design? Like, sound effects were damn near perfect. And like the soundtrack's not so bad either.
no, I thought the soundtrack was really good, actually, the music, and I was thinking about this the other day, and that's what, a good game, especially the really good games like Diablo 4. I'm listening to music and I'm like, man, I've heard that music before from Game of Thrones or whatever. That's where you're like, music matters. And the music on this is really good. Oh, what happened to the, oh, there we go. And the sound is good too. Like, because you constantly running around, you can hear them where they're coming, the sound of where they're at, right? Because they're chattering and saying different things. And sometimes you can tell where they're, the general direction. Sometimes you can even tell that they're a floor above or below you, right? So
Yeah. Exactly. You can tell where they're at because they constantly talk. They have these deep growly voices. They sound evil, and when you kill them, they're just screaming out in pain too. Which I never got tired of hearing that. Like, it took me to play all the way through the story. It took me about 10 hours, and so well done. And the stuff they're saying is cool too. It's almost like religious,
right,
in tone.
the non-believer or whatever, right?
Yeah, they're calling you unclean, the non-believer, right? You pick one of them up, and they'll say stuff like, "Quick, kill me before it's too late." It's almost like they're fanatics, even though they're actually just figments of the main protagonist's mind.
The funniest thing I saw was when I shot somebody right as they were about to throw a grenade, and it dropped. And I can't remember what he said, but he said something like, "Oh shit," or "uh-oh," or like, like he knew he was screwed, right? Because the grenade's about to go off. And I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. And let's talk a little bit about the way they tell the story here, because there is a story. It's a cool story. And there are no cinema sequences. It's all being told through audio. But it isn't just narration, right? There's kind of clips of scenes in between the levels that kind of tell the story. What did you think about that? About how they kind of get around to telling you what the situation is that you're in?
I think it's a good idea, and it works for Wes and other people. Ruuts is like, I'm running through that fucking portal into the next level for more action, and I'm like, oh, they're still talking. I guarantee I missed stuff. I'm probably gonna have to go through and re-listen too, because some of it was cool as for what I did hear, but I was just like, the fact that you can skip it, and don't get me wrong, that's amazing, because not everybody. Well, case in point, I just wanted to go to the action. But I guarantee I'm missing out on some cool story, right? So,
yeah, world class voice acting. Only a few different actors, a few different roles, but a very unique story being told by world class storytellers. So, really cool. But what you're saying, Ruuts, is right. This game, it's all about the gameplay, and it's so fast paced and addictive. You really don't want to stop. So I completely feel you there. So as you can tell, we've kind of intentionally talked about the good stuff first, because with a lot of other reviews, I feel like people kind of get hung up on the negative stuff. So I want to be perfectly clear before we start nitpicking this thing, just how good this game is. And I think absolutely everyone should buy it. It's great. Just the gameplay alone and the progression is enough for the price tag. But it's not all sunshine and roses. There are ways this game could have been better. And with that, before we get to that, I do want to say to everyone that Eric's super sorry that he could not be here. Eric is in Mexico right now, celebrating his wedding anniversary with his wife. So he's not able to join us tonight. But I did ask him what he thought about Synapse, because I was looking forward to finding out. I hadn't talked to him about it. So this is what he told me when I asked him about it. Give me just a minute here. And this is word for word what he said. He said, "That's the one I really spent some time in. You can tell everyone that I absolutely loved it, and the bullshit some creators are saying that it's a shallow and too short is absolutely bullshit. It's way better than 3/4 of the crap that's out there, and the visuals and gameplay give this a AAA feel, and that I'm absolutely disgusted that some people are killing this title because it's too short. It's deeper than most games, and the progression and skill tree are absolutely amazing. We're spoiled if we don't give games like Synapse, Hubris, and Wanderer the absolute 5-star rating that they deserve. So that's Eric's thought on it. I asked him about the game, and he went off on the reviewers, which is not surprising, right, Ruuts? He gets a little bit emotional sometimes.
Yeah, he actually was, I guess, would be very, very emotional or ranty on this one, he said. It's free VR real estate says, is there an option to change the telekinesis from eye tracking to the controller? And I believe there is, but I don't know why you would. Unless
Yes.
you're hung up on eye tracking and not wanting it on. Some people don't want eye tracking their eye, they're what they look at, I guess.
There was a couple of times that it crossed my mind that maybe I should try it with controllers, because there was a few times, especially late in the game when it gets super hectic, that I wanted to grab things without looking at them. And, maybe if I had to set the controller tracking, I would be able to do that. So I haven't tried the controller-based telekinesis, but I do think that it's something worth exploring.
Yeah.
And it's also, this is a PlayStation VR2 exclusive, but if you can use the controllers as effectively as you can use the eye tracking, there really isn't any reason that they couldn't rework this for another platform, with the exception of the adaptive triggers. If this goes to another platform, you're 100% going to miss the adaptive triggers.
How would you
but
do
I think
that?
they could pull it off.
Yeah, I guess you would just have to have like grip. One grip would throw it and the other grip would detonate it or something.
Yeah, like maybe the trigger holds something and then you have to press X to blow it up or something like that.
Yeah. Well, Fract came to different platforms, so there's no reason why this probably won't, So
anyway, as we get into kind of some of the shortcomings of the game, I wanted to read Eric's quote, because while I completely agree with what he's saying, and I think it is bullshit that some people kind of over penalize some of the negative things, I do see both sides here, and I do feel like some of the criticism is justified. It's interesting to me, Ruuts, the kind of path that In Dreams takes, because I feel like they get better and better with each title, but that's in spite of the criticism that they get each time. So Phantom Covert Ops came out, and it was a campaign. It was about 4 hours long, and people criticized it for being too short. So then Fract comes out, and
it's even shorter.
Fract is like 2.5 hours, 3 hours to play through it. So while it's a different type of game, it's more fast paced, and it's a great game. They kind of went against what everyone criticized them for and put out an even shorter game. So with Synapse, you're thinking, surely not. Surely they're going to give us more game here. And again, it took me about 10 hours to complete the story. But in that 10 hours, I ran through every level 3 times. And that's not even counting the times that I died. So it's like they gave us a smaller game, Ruuts. Overall, like what's here in terms of levels and enemies and weapons, it's all smaller. But what they've done is they've changed the rule set to kind of artificially inflate the game time. So they through the progression system is what makes this a longer game. But the game itself, I mean, the final run, hour and 20 minutes to run start to finish on it. Like this, there's not a whole lot here in terms of levels. There's levels that there's 9 levels, and the first half of them you can run through in about 3 to 5 minutes each, and then the second half are more like 10-minute levels. I kind of get why it's like this. Obviously, they're trying to have a launch window title here for PSVR2, and obviously they didn't have the most development time. But at a certain point, there's a pattern here, right? Like the games are getting shorter, not longer, when that's the main source of criticism that any of their games have ever had, is that there's just not enough here. Did you find it as surprising as I did that there was so little in terms of unique content in the form of levels, weapons, enemies, and so on?
Oh, you know, so what? Only you said 9 levels or 7 levels?
There's 9 levels, so there's the concept here is you're trying to fight your way through this guy's mind. You start out at the surface level conscious mind. There's 4 levels in the conscious mind. Then you move into the unconscious mind. There's 4 levels of the unconscious mind. And then you make it to where you're going, which is the subconscious. That's the goal, to make it to the subconscious. That's 1 level. That's the final level. And then lather, rinse, and repeat 2 more times to get all the story.
Yeah, and if people don't care about the story, for the random person that doesn't, the game is extremely short, right? You've already beat through it. Although you playing it through different difficulties.
Yeah, and to be fair, the game just changed pretty drastically from one run to the next. So like the easy run, you'll have a lot more basic enemies. The second run, you'll get a lot more of the kind of mid-range enemies, and then the last run, you'll get more of the like mini boss type enemies. Not only that, but even though the levels are the same, they're not always laid out the same. So like in one run, certain areas of the map will be open that was closed off before, and like they'll change up the start point and the end point, so you're running through it in a different direction. My last final run of the last, my ultimate run to beat the game, it felt like a completely different. Every level felt different because I was literally starting where the end would typically be and ending where the start would typically be. And when you hit it from that other direction, it looks like it's a different level and feels like it's a different level. But at the end of the day, it's not. It's just them kind of reshuffling the same thing in different ways to make it feel different when it's actually the same, mostly the same in terms of structure.
Yeah, but that's like looking at a magic trick that you've seen, you watching it happen and you're fooled by it, but then you're like, well, I know that there's a trick there that doesn't matter what what they did to make. I mean, for me, what you said that matters is that the whole thing like was different. Like each level, each difficulty was different from the next, and it was different feel. So is it really having to play through the same thing 3 different times? Because that doesn't sound like what your experience. If it was the same thing, just a little bit harder, then it would be, yeah, they just made you go through it three times. But it sounds like it's built into the whole thing is built around that. And by that, like Returnal's the same way, like
Yep.
you have to play through it several different times to get the full story, and it changes as you go. So
Yeah. And again, as I said, these negatives are very, very small, kind of nitpicky type of thing. And I think this is where Eric's frustration comes from. It's because people hear this sort of thing, and either the reviewers kind of giving it more weight than it deserves, or people are hearing it and only hearing the negative and ignoring all the positive. This was probably the biggest negative for me, but it didn't really keep me from having a blast. Like I thoroughly enjoyed every minute of the 10 hours that I spent in this. And this is a game that I'm ready to pick back up and go back through all over again, just because it's so fun, because it's so unique. Like there are no games like this. You try to compare it to stuff, but it all kind of falls flat because this game is so unique. The VR mechanics are so well done. It's kind of a unicorn in that sense. So again, any negatives we bring out here are just in the idea of, how could we make a great game even better? And, also in the context of the whole narrative that it's surprising that there's not more here, given the criticism in the past of In Dreams games being too short.
This is my thing with people's criticisms, even though there is some validity to it. There's like Eric said, there's a lot of shit out there. There's a lot of games that suck ass, and people, this is on a different level than most everything else. The gameplay, it just feels good. One thing that I would say that I would love, and I don't know if they would do this, but this would make Ruuts so happy if you could fix this. Just make the ammo a little bit easier to pick up when I run over it. Like, give it a bigger radius. Like, so many times I swore I ran over shit, and like I'm out of ammo, and it's like I almost would rather it just come to me instead of having to try to run over it, because a lot of times it just seemed like for me I'd run over it and I'd go back and oh, there it is, it's still there. So
yeah, I experienced that a couple of times. It wasn't like a super big issue, but you're right. It could have been a little bit easier to pick the ammo up.
yeah.
Enemy types, Ruuts. There's four. There's four types of guns. There's four types of enemies. No boss. No real boss fight. I mean, there's the big boss, or the big guy that they kind of use like a boss in the early runs. But as you progress, this just becomes another enemy in the levels. Hard to kill, almost like a boss fight. But I feel like, you're running through these levels. As you get closer and closer to your goal, the intensity's picking up. And then you get to the end, and they just spam you with the same enemies. There's no like big bad at the end, which is particularly disappointing, because I feel like by not having that big bad at the end, that they're not fully maximizing the potential of their progression system. Like, you've got this big progression system that's pretty much perfectly sized, right? Like it unlocks just the right amount. It's not so big that it's daunting, but it's not just a few things. There are big trees that you can unlock. But you don't have to, right? If you get halfway through the progression, that's really pretty much enough to beat the game. You probably don't even need that much of it. It would be cooler if there were a few bosses, or at least one, where you're not getting past this boss unless you've completely or close to completely unlock your skill tree, right?
Yeah, I would definitely make sure that you spent more time going back in there and trying to do all those different things, right? That's why they have them there, is you have to kill things a certain way and unlock different things to get the points to unlock the progression. It's building up to not really be needed, not any more than you needed it everything throughout the whole game, right? So definitely would have been good to build up to something. One thing we didn't mention I liked was the reload. I really liked the reload, the way that I wish every game did this, because it's just so easy for me to just smack it real quick and boom, it just flows. It's very good, and I like it.
Yeah, the reload's great. Although, especially later in the game, there was a few times that it missed. Like, I would smack it and it didn't register. And the more intense that it got, the more my eyes were away from like my chest, the more that seemed to happen. It wasn't a big problem. I do like to reload. It's seamless. It's something you don't think about. You just smack it off your chest and keep going. But it doesn't work perfectly all the time. But I feel like that's more of a limitation of the hardware than the software itself. Like, it's just because you're out of your tracking for too long and it doesn't quite register.
Yeah.
So yeah, we could have had a little bit more variety with the enemies. Although I will say this, the different enemy types are very different, right? Like, they're not just the same enemy with slight variations on them. They're all very unique and have their own unique way of moving and attacking.
Yeah, especially the explosive ones. I mean, they're so fast. All of a sudden, they're up in your face and getting ready to explode, and you're freaking out. Mark
Yeah,
Smith
the
wants
sound
to,
effects
yeah,
and sound effects on those guys will put chills up your spine.
absolutely. Mark Smith wants to know what we like more, Synapse or Light Brigade. My thing it's hard for me to say just because right now it'd be probably recency
Right.
bias, but I think they're both unique and different in amazing ways, um, in their own ways, right? So
Yeah, yeah, they're both very good. I would say right now, and then maybe it is recency bias, but I would say right now that Synapse is a bit more polished. It's a bit more like a AAA experience, and it's definitely more unique.
it's
Like,
way more fast paced.
yeah, yeah. I would say that Synapse is a better game right now. Um, but again, I just finished it. We'll see how it stands up over time. Light Brigade is still something that I crave every time I think about it. So just talking about it right now makes me want to go back and play it. They're both very good. Um, I'd say they're pretty similar. A lot of the flaws that Synapse has, the Light Brigade has the same thing. They have very similar progression. It's just that Light Brigade's a bit more of a traditional shooter. It's a bit more slow and deliberate, where this is just like balls to the walls, fast paced action. Has definitely more of a production polish on it, and it's certainly a lot more like VR centric, and uses the special features of the PSVR2 unlike any other game. So I think that this is probably a more impressive game, but Light Brigade's very good too.
Yep, both worth owning for sure.
Yeah, 100%. Let's see what other kind of negatives were there here. I mean, I think the enemy variety and just the overall lack of hard assets in this game is probably the biggest flaw in it. Seems like there was something else that I wanted to criticize, but it's escaping me at the moment. All right. Must not have been that bad, huh?
Yeah, no, I mean I have a hard time finding things to not really like about it. I don't even really think that it's too short. I mean, if you break it down into the fact that you have to play it 3 times and you try to go from that angle, you can make that case, but I think it's a weak case to be made. And
Yeah.
a 10-hour
And it's
game
definitely,
campaign is reasonable.
yeah. And the fact um, that it's not a burden to run it 3 times. Like you want to do the second run, you want to do the third run. I wish there was a fourth run. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like the fact that it keeps you engaged is just a testament to kind of how they remix things and how they keep you engaged with the story and the intensity kind of increasing as you go. You want to keep going with it even when it's done.
So what's the cost on this game? Or do we know?
$35.
35.
$35 for this.
Okay. Well, to me, it's reasonable for sure.
Yeah, I think it's priced appropriately. I don't think it's overpriced. I don't think it's underpriced. I feel $35 is well. I could even see this being a $40 game, but yeah, I think 35 is a good price for it. I do think that this is a must-own game. So for me, the whole question with this is, what tier do we put this in? Is this God tier A level, or is this slightly below? And I feel like so the way I kind of rate things, if we were going to put it at like on a 0 to 10, like for me there is no 10. 10 would be the perfect VR game. I've never played it yet. I'm still waiting on that game. The nines are the best games of all time. These are your Resident Evils. These are your Walking Dead Saints and Sinners, your Half-Life Alyxes, those type of games. The question is this one of those games, or is this something slightly below those things that could have been one of those games had it maybe had a little bit more to it than what's here?
I think
Um,
it'd be disingenuous to say it's a 9, but I'd say it's somewhere between an 8 and a 9, and maybe not 8.5, but like it's up there. You know what I mean? Because those other games that you're talking about are like Like, especially Resident Evil games. The best thing about those games is it's never fucking over. Like, you think
Yeah.
it's over and it's still going and still going, and you're like, my God, how much game is here? But this is damn close. I mean, it's got everything you need, right? And
Yeah, I think if we were rating just the gameplay, I think this is a 9 all day.
yeah,
I think in terms of like the total package, I think you're right. I think it's about a 8.5, like a 8.5 out of 10 that could have been a 9 had a few very small things been different. This would have been in that league.
yeah.
But I absolutely think it's a must buy. I think everyone should buy it. Don't wait for a sale. Pick it up now. Um, there aren't there. I was about to say there aren't very many games like this available in the VR. There are no games like this available in the VR library. This is a unicorn. It's one of a kind, and the gameplay is on another level.
Just the things you can do with those explosives is super cool. Like picking them up and throwing them around a corner you can't even see, and watching guys explode. I just think it's cool.
Ruuts, the sound design was so good in this game that I would hear guys before I saw them, but I would know where they're at, and I would throw shit around the corners at them and knock them down and kill them.
Yeah.
I mean, that is what you call polish. You know, that's an interesting concept that anybody could come up with, but being able to execute something like that in a game seamlessly without even thinking about it, that's a level of polish that you don't see in VR games or games in general.
Yeah.
So this absolutely is a special game. It's absolutely one of a kind special game, and it's so fun. The story's great. It's beautiful. The sound's awesome. Literally everything's great, except for those few little tiny things that people are pointing out and getting hung up on. They're right. It's just not as big a deal as some people are making it out to be.
Well, it's throwing the baby out with the bathwater, right? Like at some point, this game is better than 75-80% of games out there. And you're going to nitpick about the things that you want it to be perfect. And it's not perfect. There is no perfect game. But for what it is, it's probably one of the most perfect roguelike type of games I've played in VR. It's just really good.
How about roguelite, by the way? I used to hate roguelites. And now it's like most of the good games that come out have this kind of progression to them.
Well, this is the thing. It's like, especially in VR, I don't think a lot of developers were doing it right. Like, there's a reason why these type of games do very well in flat games, because the progression, it draws you in, and you just want to keep building, and when you do it right, it feels good, and they did it right. It's just it's really good.
I remember what the other negative thing I had to say about it was, and I can't really say it because I don't want to spoil things. There are some things about the story that are kind of that don't make sense, so to speak. That and so I won't talk about that. And people that have finished the game want to kind of come to me off air and discuss it with me. I'll be more than happy to. The other thing was this is kind of a dreamscape type of scenario where you're forcibly burrowing through someone's mind, someone who's a crazy person and someone who's trying to resist. I feel like if I'm forcibly working my way through someone's mind, someone who isn't particularly stable, by the time I start to get close to my goal, to the subconscious, I feel like they should be losing their mind. Like the whole level should be pretty much coming apart. Like the enemies should start changing. Like the structure of the levels should be changing all around you. This person should be just resisting you with everything. Like the very air that you're breathing is trying to kill you and keep you from making it to your goal. And while there is some of that, some of the geometry of the levels is a little bit more broken as you progress and get closer to the end. I feel like the environment could have been more of a threat to you, given the kind of premise of the story and what you're actually doing. That was kind of my other big criticism.
Missed opportunity. It sounds like, Wes, is that these a lot of these VR developers need to be contacting Wes for some advice, because that's actually really good advice. Really good. It's like it would taking it to the next level, right?
Hey, horror game developers out there, if you want to make the best horror game of all time, contact Wes. I've asked developers before, hey, do you guys just hire people that are idea guys that don't really have technical experience? And they're like, no, there's really no room for just idea guys. But listen, I know VR games, I know horror especially, and I've got ideas. And if people would make the games I have in my head, um, they would be the best games of all time.
They'll
For
learn.
me, anyway.
They'll learn eventually, Wes.
But yeah, thank you for saying that. I feel like that sometimes. Anyway, no, this is a great game and it's a must own. Everyone go buy it. It's unique in multiple ways, and it's a showcase of PlayStation VR2, most importantly. So if you have a PSVR2 and you say I don't have stuff to play, you got no excuse not to buy this. This game is one of the reasons to own a PSVR2.
Yeah, Radio Runt. Radio Runt. Idaho. Speaking to you, Radio Runt. You got to pick this up.
Anyway, I think that's all we got for tonight. Again, shout out to the devs for giving us access to these games. It was a good week, Roots. Like, the games aren't always this good, and specifically with Synapse, it's pretty rare that we get to play a game that's this good, right?
Right. It's nice. It's joy to go into a game and play it and get enough for the show and then want to keep playing it. It's like, damn. I mean, I must have just played at least 2 or 3 hours straight. I just wanted to keep going.
How often do I finish games, Roots? Like these days, like used to, I'd want to finish everything, but now a game really has to grab me for me to put 10 hours into it.
Right. Well, because there's always something else. There's always something we have to go into. There's always something that's pulling us away. And then for us to feel like we want to not only finish it, I mean, I guess go back and play it, but finish it. That's a testament. So
yeah, it's a must own. And I don't just throw those words around. This is literally a must own title for anyone who has a PSVR.
Yep. And if you don't have a PSVR2, I question your soul.
There you go. Go get it. They're giving one away right now. I got an email, Roots, that said you could win a bundle, PS5 and PSVR2.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Who's giving it away? Sony or
Sony?
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
Sony.
There you go.
I didn't even look at the details, but I did see the subject line in my email. So check your emails, ladies and gents.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Anyway, that's our show for this week. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and share with your friends. Super important. We're growing. We're almost at 31 now, Roots. 3,100. We only need a few more. Although I will say this, like, from the time that I posted the thumbnail to the time the show went on the air, we lost a subscriber.
Oh, what? Oh.
It's like somebody said Synapse. Bullshit. I'm done.
Screw this.
Guido in the chat with the $20 donation. Hey, strangers, don't get to participate much on Fridays, but I'd still want to show some love. Appreciate the hard work. We appreciate you, Guido, for being so awesome.
I knew it's Guido that he's unsubscribed. Guido, come back. No, wait, I guess it.
So thanks, Guido.
Yeah.
So yeah, share, guys. Subscribe. Of course, shout out to Geisen for joining the Patreon. $3. That's all we ask per month, less than $1 per week. We give you our weekly show notes. We give you insider updates. Occasionally, we give you exclusive content, and you get to know that you're helping the show do things that we wouldn't otherwise be able to do. You're buying us headsets. You're buying us plane tickets. You're buying us stuff that allow us to be better than we are, and we appreciate it.
Yep. Sure.
Of course, if you don't have money, if you're broke like the rest of us, you can join us on Discord for free. This is the heart of our community. It's where we live at. It's where we hang out. It's where we talk about all things, not just VR. And again, it's free. There's a link in the description. It's an invitation to you to come join us. You will be greeted at the door, I assure you. And yeah, come hang out and become part of the fam.
Yeah, Wes left the light on, so right.
Yeah, the light's always on. Even when the power bill goes up, Ruuts, we still leave the lights on for these people.
Yeah, you guys mean that much.
What's up, Salvador? What's up, Albert? Good to see you, friends. Aceville, Mark Pringlesleaf. Had a few people show up after we started talking. What's up, people? Thanks for joining. And with that said, friends, I'd like to thank you all once again for watching. For Ruuts, I'm Wes. We'll see you in 2 days. Bye.
Take it easy.